Okay, so this says graph f plus g of x. First of all, I guess there should be labels on this as a graph, which is my mistake. We need to understand what the domain of this function, the new function, is. What's the domain of the new function? What could it possibly go from to? -2 to 2. It can't exist here or here. They only exist where they both are. So I'm going to make a chart from -2 to 2. And I'm going to write down what the heights of the f function are, what the heights of the g function are, and then I'm going to figure out what the new heights are if I add them together. Okay, shall I let you just do that on your own? Okay, some things, make sure on this outcome, I feel like something like this is usually on an exam. Make sure you've labeled scales on graphs. If something has an arrow, we need to have an arrow. If we need to have an arrow, make sure you're focusing on that. The other kind of question they could do is if they give you one of the graphs, like f of x, and they give you the added graph, and you have to get the g graph, right? They might do that, so you're just working backwards. Good? Okay, a composite function. We are to do the g of f of x. So we're putting this into that. So we're going to put this function into that function. So I put that f into the g. Does that make sense? And then you should think about simplifying it. So the square root cancel. Okay, I noted on this document that Morgan sent out, I read through it, and it said when you have composite functions, you need to do comma, talk about the domain. If there's something that's restricting the domain, you need to talk about it. Is there anything here or here that restricts your domain? Yes. This one's okay, right? I can square anything, that's fine. But can you square root anything? No. So what do I know about the x here? What's the domain of this? More than or equal to 1. So that needs to come after. So You have to state that. If you don't, you will get a deduction. Okay, now it also asks me to graph it. What is, so just pretend that I have this. What is this when you graph it? What kind of relationship is this? Y equals x minus 1. What is it? A line. What do you know about this line? Y-intercept is -1. And what do you know about the slope? 1. So you're up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. So it would look, I'm going to draw a rough graph. -1, up 1 over 1. This is what it would look like. Except what? You can't have all of that. You have to restrict your domain. You have to be greater than or equal to 1. So that is done. I can't do that. So this is my final answer. Okay, does that make sense? I knew what the function looked like, but I had to only take part of it. Okay, I think this one was pretty good. I told you what the final equation was, and you would have to give me examples of equations that would add to get that. Whatever, random, anything. There's lots of things. As long as when I add yours together, they make that. Okay, this one you have to think of two functions that would multiply, it says. So two functions that would multiply to get to that trinomial. Okay, composite. Okay, so you have to start g of 5 first. So plug in a 5 into the g function. Plug a 5 into the g function. Then do the f of that. So you would have to plug a 27 into the f function. Okay, why don't you try the other one on your own? I just did it in the other order. Okay, and this one. So on these ones, you're doing this. When x is -2, what's the height of f? At -2, the height of f is 2. Now the question becomes, when x is 2, what's the height of the g? I could also see this on your exam as a list of coordinates instead of a graph. Same idea, I remember that. You had that wonderful bonus question where I did that. You had a lot of fun with that one, I think, right? A little puzzle. Okay, at -3, when x is -3, the height of f is 1. And now it's an f again, so at 1, the height is, and I got a decimal here, should we just do 1.5? I don't know. 1.6? I'm not sure. What? Oh, I did G. Thanks. Oh, at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There, is that better? 5. Okay, so this one's different because I have inverse symbol, right? Inverse. So what does the inverse symbol mean? X and Y are the switched. So really what I'm saying is, what is the X when Y is 1 this time? So I'm going backwards. So at a height of 1, your X value is -3.